Salve amici.
Hello, friends. The news of the recovery of the metal sphere that landed in Buga, Colombia, has now gone around the world. The fact has generated enormous curiosity and interest in the public and researchers, but has also unleashed a strong wave of skepticism, controversy, and accusations, according to which it would be a scam designed for various purposes. Among these is the dispute that it is a covert campaign for advertising and commercial purposes, created by the Germany company, in the person of David Velez El Potro. According to some, Germany would have manufactured one or more metal spheres, like the one we are talking about, to fuel media interest for promotional purposes. David Velez would be the main protagonist of this fraudulent operation, as he was the one who released the videos of the sphere in flight, allegedly filmed by Maria and Jose. Velez would then have involved, always according to the accusations, the poor and naive Jaime Maussan, who would have been sold a fake passed off as an alien sphere. Thus, falling into Germany's trap, Maussan would have unknowingly acted as a sounding board to make this company, which produces digital equipment for the detection of frequencies, magnetic fields, and radiesthesia, known worldwide. For example, the photo you see has been circulated online, initially posted on the social network Reddit, as proof that Germany would have manufactured other spheres in addition to the one given to the gonzo easygoing Jaime Maussan, perhaps for further deception to the detriment of other unwary and gullible UFO fans, ready to accept anything to feed their extraterrestrial belief. Too bad that the photo in question, taken by naive kids, hopefully not in bad faith, who thought they had discovered the deception, is actually just a banal image generated by artificial intelligence. I personally uploaded the photo to some simple programs that analyze images to verify its origin, and the response was clear. The photo is fake, that is, generated with AI with applications such as Midjourney, DALL-E, or ChatGPT. Aside from the fact that a photo by itself does not prove anything if it is not accompanied by other evidence or testimonies, there are many images created in the same way on the web, and you are seeing a brief overview of them. These last ones, however, I created myself with the AI. Here I made the circuit pins copper-colored, exactly like in the original sphere. There are tons of other crazy things circulating. The AI is overflowing by now. Here's a video in which the middle area of the sphere lights up, but on its surface the AI has added non-existent symbols. As you can see, the environment is always that of the Germany laboratories. It is deplorable that even the majority of UFO circles have lashed out, with violence and even offensive personal attacks, against the case of the Buga sphere, David Velez, Jaime Maussan, who has put his face and reputation into it as well as his money, and even myself, who went personally to Mexico to verify the facts and bring the information here to Italy. It would have been more logical, professional, and polite to wait, at least, for the results of the analyses, which are proceeding quickly in Mexico, and to unite, because finally, we civilians have in our hands a find of extraordinary importance after decades of lies and deception by those in power who do not want the extraterrestrial truth, with all the fantastic implications it contains, to become the heritage of all humanity. I am convinced that this is a very important stage of the extraterrestrial project that will bring us into contact with them, and they themselves are the programmers and custodians of this extraordinary story that brings us even closer to cosmic contact. I also want to say and emphasize that Jaime Maussan is an investigative television journalist, and I am a documentary maker with over 30 documentaries made for Italy, especially for the Italian Public Broadcasting Company, and also for other international TVs, a fact that no one seems to want to remember or take into consideration. Neither I nor Maussan are ufologists. To conclude this presentation of mine, on May 15, 2025, to respond to all these accusations and to the many others that have crowded the network since the news of the discovery of the flying sphere spread. David Velez, El Potro, published his first official statement on the YouTube channel of the Germany company. I have already had the opportunity to speak personally with David, and I hope to be able to interview him as soon as possible. We have a lot of work to do to select all the material we have produced in Mexico, but I considered that giving David a voice was important to defend him, Jaime Maussan, and a case that is proving to be one of the most important in the history of modern ufology. I leave you with the statements of David Velez El Potro. See you soon, friends.
Vi saluto, amici, a presto.
Hola, ¿qué tal amigos de YouTube? Un saludo muy especial.
Hi, dear YouTube friends. A very special greeting to you all. This is David Velez El Potro speaking. I'm the person who handed the sphere over to Jaime Maussan, the buga sphere. Today, I want to clear up several doubts. A lot of people are completely mistaken about this story. There's a ton of misinformation going around on social media, in Spain, in Colombia, and even in Mexico. Today, I'm going to set a lot of things straight, my friends. I'm not great with social media, but I'll do my best to share the facts. My friends, first of all, I'm happy to know that the sphere is in good hands, in Mexico. Let me explain a few things. Some people are spreading false information. How is it possible that fake news is circulating in Spain and Colombia and being passed off as true? As journalists, they shouldn't be doing that. Not unless they have clear, solid information they can actually share with the public. Social networks are like a news outlet. They can either inform or misinform. I want to show you something shocking. A lot of people have called me saying they heard people talking about me as if I were the richest man in Colombia. So I looked into it and found that some journalists or podcasters or whatever they are have a channel full of misinformation and are wrong about so many things. I'm going to show you this clip so you can see how people are making things up, saying that David Velez El Potro is the richest man in Colombia and insisting that the sphere is a scam. But they're wrong. They've got me mixed up with someone else. So, just like you've heard that kind of story, you'll hear many others. I don't understand why they're attacking Jaime Maussan, the investigator, knowing that I got in touch with Arturo from Mexico. Arturo is a Mexican communicator and researcher. He asked me if it would be possible for me to talk to Maussan about the sphere, which has now gone viral around the world and crossed every border. We never thought it would become such a big deal. Then Jaime Maussan contacted me, asking if he could come to Colombia to see where the sphere had fallen, to gather info from the people who found it and from those who received it, and then go back to Mexico and share what he had learned. That's it. But my friends, first I want to show you the journalists who are spreading false information. Some say Jaime Maussan is a friend of mine and that we planned this together and made a deal. That's a huge lie. I didn't ask for a single cent to send the sphere to Mexico. Just like I told him in a voice message. Maussan, don't even think about offering me a coffee. I'm giving this sphere as a gift to humanity. This sphere doesn't belong to me or to him. It belongs to humanity. Sure, he has it now, but there are two guardians, him and me. But this sphere is for all humankind. Whatever is discovered, whether good, bad, or frightening, must be shared with the whole planet. My friends, first of all, I want to show you the misinformation, so you can see for yourselves that there are people out there working in the world of information, so to speak, who are really just spreading disinformation. And they're misleading people, making them believe things that just aren't true. Like, for example, these folks from Spain you're about to see, they're reporting the news from there, and from right here in Colombia too. They're saying that David Velez El Potro is the richest man in Colombia, and that this whole thing is already settled, that it's all about money, publicity, and a bunch of other stuff. Now you're going to listen and see for yourselves what disinformation really looks like, and that's why you should only trust what you see with your own eyes, what you feel in your heart, and what comes out of the investigations that are currently underway. Let me show you. Nacho Rojo is investigating this, and he's working alongside several scientists, real scientists, people with years of study behind them. Some of them have 50 years of experience in this field, and they haven't just dabbled in a couple of topics. They've studied thousands. So that's why I want to show you, my friends, the disinformation these people are putting out
It's a very cinematic scene because the guy picking up the object is being followed by someone else, a cameraman, who's filming him as he picks it up.
Now listen to this woman, or let's say girl, how she's misleading people in both Colombia and Spain. Listen closely because this is not something that someone with such a big following and so much influence should be doing. She's some kind of investigator. I don't know if she's a UFO researcher, a scientist. I really don't know, but she's spreading disinformation. Let's just listen because it's honestly unbelievable. You'll see for yourselves how they're pushing fake news.
Also, the video's pixelated. They say it's for security reasons, out of fear. That's actually pretty common, too.
Looks like it's straight out of a movie, Men in Black.
In the mythology of these strange objects, there's always someone who finds them, but that person's identity is never clear. You never know who they actually are, so they can't be identified or questioned. And like I told you, I looked into where these videos came from, where they were first posted, and we'll talk more about that logo you mentioned, too. Turns out they first popped up on viral TikTok and Instagram accounts.
Well, let's keep something in mind, what this woman is saying. There are people out there who don't want fame. Let me ask a question to all of you out there, in front of your phone, your TV, or some other device. If a sphere fell into your backyard, or into a field or somewhere else, 99% of people would go pick it up because it's something that fell from the sky and we feel like we have to take it. It's a gift. It's something we've found. No one's going to say, no, let's leave it there another hour. Let's wait. Maybe if we pick it up tomorrow, it'll have lost its electromagnetism, or it won't be dangerous anymore. No, people will automatically take the thing and bring it home. That's what 99% of people would do. Only 1%, those who know something about radioactivity or these kinds of artifacts, only that 1% would leave it there and call the police. But hardly anyone would do that because someone else might come and take it. So, my friends, some people want to be famous and others don't. In this case, Mr. Jose doesn't want to be famous. He doesn't want to be named, seen, or appear in any videos. Why? He just doesn't like it. Now, let's listen to how this woman keeps spreading disinformation. Let's listen.
Dedicated to marketing and advertising campaigns. And of course, that's pretty suspicious. Because that logo we see there just happens to be from the Germany company, owned by David Velez, who is also the owner of Nubank, which is very well known here.
Listen up. Listen to what this woman is saying, my friends. This is serious. That David Velez El Potro, that's me, is the owner of Nubank. Let's keep listening to how she keeps misinforming the public.
It's an online bank called Nubank, one of the top banks in Colombia that also offered very high returns.
Here we are seeing El Potro, David Velez, who, by the way, has admitted to being passionate about UFOs.
Yeah, sure. Of course, he's one of the richest people in Colombia, a very well-known businessman. And who did he give the sphere to? To Maussan. Why? Because he's into this stuff. But the curious thing, and this is where we really need to pay attention, because as they say, the devil's in the details. The curious thing is that he owns a company. Besides Nubank, he has a lot of companies. One of them is called German Company, and that logo we saw earlier, and the one at the lab we were looking at, belongs to that company that makes devices.
Okay. That's where this video ends, because now they're going to start promoting the Germany company. And the truth is that the Germany company doesn't even want anything to do with publicity anymore. Let me explain this a little better for those who don't know. A lot of people are confused about the story because people are saying whatever they want, but they're not telling the truth. When Mr. Jose picked up the sphere, and we'll see some videos now. When Jose picked up the sphere, it had just fallen. Before he picked it up, another girl was filming too, in a completely different place from where Jose was. Her name's Maria, also had the chance to get really close to the object and record it. She sent us the video 3 or 4 days later. I don't remember exactly. And it was incredible. When I had both videos, it was truly impressive. Mr. Jose, when he picked up the sphere, well, he's someone who's used to looking for treasures, coins, buried objects. He buys tools from Germany company, and of course, just like you would from any other store. But let's say that even if Jose had bought his gear somewhere else, he still would have called us. Why? Because we have a lot of experience with land, soil, electromagnetic fields. We work with all kinds of devices, and we know the terrain well. So who else would he have handed this sphere to, if not us? We're the ones closest to him, and we know this stuff best. So he calls and says, "Engineer David, I found an artifact. Honestly, I don't know what it is, and I'm pretty scared. I want you to come take a look at it." Then he started to feel unwell. He noticed he was losing his fingerprints. When he tried unlocking his phone, the fingerprint scanner no longer worked. He had to type in the code. That's when he realized something was wrong. The very first day he had the sphere, he started feeling nauseous, with dry heaving. All the things people are saying, that his hair fell out, that he lost teeth, that he couldn't walk, that he was on his deathbed in the hospital, are completely false. He just went for a routine medical checkup to see how he was doing, and he was fine.
No, eso es una gran mentira. Es una gran mentira. Él fue a un chequeo médico, un chequeo de rutina para saber cómo seguía y está bien.
Friends, there's a huge amount of misinformation spreading online about this case. They're also attacking Mr. Mausen, and that honestly saddens me, because I truly believe he's doing serious and transparent work. When Mausen arrived in Colombia, the first thing he said to me was, "David, let's go to the places where the sphere was found. I want to talk to Mr. Jose, ask him some questions." He asked his questions, saw that everything was clear and straightforward. He found it very strange that the sphere had passed both under and over the high-voltage wires. That's why nobody has been able to say the video is fake. Nobody. Some claim it was hung by a wire. Others say it was a balloon tied to a motorcycle speeding down a road. Some even say the motorcycle was driving through Buga, while the balloon floated over the city. But how could a balloon in just a few seconds move from the city all the way to the mountains in the Alto Bonito area, and even above the wires? That's absurd. People are trying to debunk a video that is clearly real. Enough already, the videos are 100% real, period. When Jose found the sphere, he didn't give it to some company, he gave it to me. Let's not talk about the Germany company anymore. They don't want publicity, so I won't mention them again. People are saying this is all just a publicity stunt to sell more devices for the company. But let me tell you something. I've been working with the Germany company for 16 years, actually. I'm even a shareholder, and I can tell you for sure that the Germany company doesn't need any advertising. For over 10 years, we've been selling to 50 stores, made to order. If a store asks for 100 devices, the company has 2 or 3 months to produce them. Often we can't even meet the full demand. So you tell me, why would Germany company want more publicity? It already sells more than enough. It doesn't need anything else. That's why we specifically asked Mausen not to show any more videos with the company logo. When the artifact arrived at Germany, the only thing we did was try to measure its weight, temperature, resistance. We ran a lot of tests. And unfortunately, during those tests, the Germany logo appeared, because at the time, we were the ones doing the analysis. And yes, at that moment, we were also hoping for a little recognition. Who doesn't want to be known? Who doesn't want to feel appreciated, rewarded? Like a good pilot receiving a medal? Who doesn't want to be thanked by the public? But in this case, the opposite happened. Just for showing that logo of the Germany company electronics lab, all we got was criticism. The Germany company lab is not a UFO research center. We don't know anything about UFOs. We don't know anything about spacecraft. We've never even touched a flying saucer. We have no idea what this sphere is. But people who don't understand, they think our lab is some small-time setup, like something inside a storage room or a garage. Some people even got offensive instead of seriously asking what we were doing. In reality, we were conducting serious measurements. Piezoelectric inductance, electromagnetic fields, resistance, material hardness. We found out it's made of aluminum, but an extremely hard kind. We tried to cut off a small piece to analyze it, but we couldn't even scratch it. It's as hard as steel. That's what I told Mr. Mausan over the phone. I said, "Sir, this artifact is porous. It seems to have a dissipation system. When we pour water over it, it completely repels it. The sphere stays at room temperature, and the water is cold. It never heats up. Some people are saying, we put the artifact in the freezer, froze it, and then poured hot water on it to make steam. But why would we need to fake something like that? I assure you, there was no need. We poured room temperature water over it with a regular cup, and it started emitting smoke. You can clearly see it was just a normal coffee mug. We use those every day in the lab. That lab you see is the one where we make 1 meter by 1 meter plates. But let's be clear, it's a warehouse that's divided into different sections. The electronics section is one part, the area where we make coils and metal plates is another. These are separate labs. So my friends, let's talk now about the investigations led by Mr. Mausan. A lot of people are saying he has some kind of deal with Germany company, that there's business going on. That's just not true. We formally asked him not to show the company logo anymore, and you won't see it in any more videos. That's what I wanted to clear up today for all of you. If any of you really wants to get to the bottom of this story, just follow the channels of Nacho Rojo or Jaime Mausan, because they're the ones who currently have the sphere. Of course, I own 50% of it, since I handed it over to Mexico for one specific reason, to have it analyzed. Just like you don't know what it is, I don't either. Not even Mausan knows. We're all trying to figure it out. And if one day it turns out to be a man-made drone or a probe, like some people are saying, or something non-human, we'll find out, and the whole world will know. And if somehow it turns out the video was made digitally, like it's CGI, which I know it's not, even that will come to light. Everything will come out. We just want the investigation to run its course without the story being twisted by people claiming it's a motorcycle or a drone sold on AliExpress or Temu. I've always been passionate about aviation, even though now I'm kind of scared of it. Years ago, I had a paragliding accident. I fell from about 8 meters and broke my foot. Since then, I've been afraid of flying, of being up high. But, my friends, an object like this, round with no blades, no propellers, no visible engine, it's something completely different from anything we know. I'm making this video not to defend myself, but to defend the truth. I don't want to convince anyone. People who don't believe will never believe, not even in God. Some folks don't even believe in Jesus Christ, but they'll put their faith in a dog instead. Look, everyone has the right to believe or not believe. But just so you know, this isn't a movie. This is something real. Some people are now saying, the next World Cup ball is coming out soon, and that this sphere is just a FIFA publicity stunt or something like that to promote it. Come on, the World Cup doesn't need any advertising. Everybody loves football. My friends, this story has gone beyond ridiculous. People are making a mockery of it, and it's honestly shameful. I had the chance to speak with Mr. Mausan. It was the first time I met him. He's a straightforward man. He doesn't say, let's do this or that, just to say it. He does what needs to be done. He told me a bit about the Nazca mummies, and honestly, I'll tell you, I've got friends in Peru who run metal detector shops, listen closely, in Cusco, which is where some of the most amazing indigenous communities are, where they have artifacts and all sorts of things. And they told me that the Peruvian government wasn't too happy about a foreigner taking over or claiming credit for an investigation because, for them, that was a problem. So just start from that, and you'll understand a lot. I didn't get that from Mausan. I got it from my own friends in Peru. And, sorry if I don't sound like a polished YouTuber or whatever, but I'm just telling it like it is. My friends, the sphere. Mausan came here to Colombia. We talked for a long time, and I shared with him everything I've experienced. This thing is really strange. Only someone who's actually held it in their hands can understand there's something off about it. It's like when you pick up a toy or an electronic gadget you've never seen before. It's fascinating, beautiful, but at the same time, kind of unsettling. The sphere is really something when you look at it, and even by touch, you can tell it's not made of anything from around here. Its characteristics are seriously unusual. It looks like it's carved out of stone, but it's actually made from a super tough metal, very hard. They've run some tests on it, and that's exactly what I want to talk about now. Tests have been done on the material the sphere's made of. They say, and scientists have confirmed, that this sphere is kind of like an onion. Sorry for the comparison, but it's the simplest way to describe it, like Nacho Rojo from Spain says. An onion has layers, right? Let me adjust the camera here. I'm a little off frame. So an onion has layers. The first one is aluminum. The second is something else. The third, another material. Then a fourth, a fifth. And inside, there's a dense core made of a substance that's still unidentified. They tested it using a durometer. I think that's what it's called, and here's what they found. Listen carefully because this matters. The special aluminum NASA uses for spacecraft has a hardness of 150 to 160, which is already extremely high, and it's very lightweight. It's called duralumin. It doesn't have other alloys. It's pure, very hard aluminum. But in this artifact's case, let's call it that, or sphere. But not extraterrestrial sphere, because we don't know where it's from. This thing has a hardness of 360. Let me repeat that. Nearly as hard as steel or manganese, or some of the strongest alloys known, the kind that can withstand insane temperatures, speeds, the deep sea pressure. So let me just say this. A metal with that level of hardness, it's not from Earth. That's the starting point. They did multiple tests with the durometer. And even the tip of the instrument got worn out just by touching the material. After 3 or 4 tries, the tip was already damaged. So, friends, I'm telling you, this is incredible. Let's take a look at the investigation and the conclusions coming out of it. Let me tell you something else. Every 2 or 3 days, Mosen gives me a call to keep me updated on the research. And every time I'm even more amazed, because each time they're finding even stranger things. During our last call, maybe 2 days ago, Mosen told me that inside the sphere, they ran a tomography scan. And to do that, you need some pretty big equipment. So the sphere was taken to a specialized facility and scanned. And inside, it has a structure that's really similar to the Baghdad battery. It looks like there's some kind of jar or container inside it. And this jar has, right in the center, a little sphere. And that sphere moves, it starts spinning inside the larger sphere. Listen carefully. Hang on, let me adjust the camera again so you can see better. This object, the jar-like thing, holds something. I don't know if it's a liquid or an energy, but it comes out of the jar and spreads through all the layers of the sphere. And that's what creates the gravitation, or movement, like it's floating through the air like a feather. My friends, the sphere can weigh tons, but upwards, not downwards, upwards. And if it flips, then it weighs tons downward. That's why these objects can fly at such insane, supersonic speeds, because we're talking about tons in motion. Not just speed, because we don't know exactly how fast it can go, but tons of weight moving upward or sideways. So it can reach incredible speed and knock down anything in its path. Let's take a look now at part of the investigation, because this is exactly the kind of thing we, as investigators, should be paying attention to. This gentleman we see here has been studying metallurgy for 50 years. He's an expert, and I believe he's handled more metals than we'll see in our entire lives. So let's listen to what he says.
Let's see if he can lower that a bit.
Over 200?
No, 300, 330.
Now is it under 100?
Look, for example, now the temperature is almost the same.
There will be variation.
But not so much.
But not so much.
Won't the equipment be bad?
Not so much. It's not calibrated.
We bring testers.
Copper?
Copper.
How much?
Me from 0, 81.
Nickel.
Ahí escuchamos claramente.
We just clearly heard them say it's impossible. Let me take down this image I have here. It's impossible for a material to reach a hardness of 350 or 360 and then drop to 30 or 40, like kitchen foil, like the kind you use to wrap food or put in the fridge. Weak aluminum. It's madness, my friends. And yet, it seems all the instruments are damaged, completely damaged, even though they're certified tools. And that means they shouldn't break. because they're professional and fully certified. And still, they're showing strange readings. The team says they're baffled. There are 17 scientists involved, and these last 5 ran tests and measurements on the object for 12 hours. So, my friends, I listened to Nacho Rojo. Mausan barely talks about the investigations. He lets the scientists do the talking. In my opinion, we're dealing with something very serious here, something that deserves our attention. Let me adjust the camera for a second. As I was saying, I'm David Velez, El Potro, and I'm the one who handed the sphere over to Mausan. It was given to me. It was Mr. Jose who picked it up from the ground. I don't get why people think anyone else should be involved. Who filmed the videos? Let me tell you something you might not know. I'm Colombian, and I live near Buga. I have family in Buga, Tuluá, Pereira, Bogotá, Medellín, Cali. I've got family all over Colombia. My whole family has been calling me saying, what happened is unbelievable. When Mausan arrived in the Alto Bonito neighborhood of Buga, in the village of the Lord of Miracles, they tried filming the area near the high-voltage wires with a tiny drone. Just a little thing. According to what Mr. Jose told us, the sphere had a short circuit, an explosion, when it came into contact with a 10,000-volt cable, or higher. That's how it fell to the ground, lost stability, and started losing altitude. But what I'm going to tell you now is even more extraordinary. When Mr. Mausan tried to launch a drone to film the area near the high-voltage cables in the city of Buga, the drone couldn't rise more than a few meters because of a signal block. In fact, right nearby there is the Palisade Battalion. This base, that is one of the most important military bases in Colombia, has tech that prevents drones from flying near to it. They make them crash. It's the second most important military base in the country, and it's located just 30, 40, 50, 70, 100 meters from where the sphere hit. So, you tell me, my friends, how the hell can anyone say it was a drone? If the object flew over the Palisade Battalion, it flew right over the base. If it had been a bomb, it could have caused a massacre. But it didn't do any harm. It's not dangerous, or at least it didn't come here to cause harm. It's an object that carries a message, a new kind of technology, something that wants to be understood. Maybe it fell by accident, or maybe it landed on purpose. We still don't know anything about it. But let me tell you something, my friends. Don't believe everything you read on social media. This isn't advertising. This is not an advertising campaign. It's not some stunt like those monoliths that popped up in different countries and turned out to be a marketing trick. No, this is not marketing. Here we don't want to... Let me ask you something. Have you seen a single product from Germany company shown in any of the videos? Not one. And do you know why? Because we're not interested in advertising. We already sell to Peru, to Colombia, to Mexico, to the US, to Egypt, to Italy, to Israel. We sell to all those countries. We've received orders for 500 units and had to say we couldn't deliver them all at once. We just don't have the industrial capacity for that. So tell me, why would we need publicity? We've had videos with 5 million views. Again, why would we need publicity? So listen, I want to make this clear. There's no marketing behind this. Sooner or later, the truth will come out. This object has to be studied thoroughly. I've gotten calls from several countries. A special shout out to the people in France that we're getting to an agreement to make a documentary about this artifact across all of Europe. And they're asking Mausan and me how much the exclusive rights would cost. And we said there is no exclusive, because this object belongs to the entire world, to all civilians. We'll gladly cooperate, but it's not for sale. So where's the profit? Where's the sale? When Mausan asked me if he could take the sphere, I told him, of course, that's why you came. Take it with you. A lot of people are wondering how Mausan managed to fly such an object out of Colombia without putting the whole plane at risk. Many of you want to know how it all happened. It's simple. When something falls into your backyard, only you and your family know about it. A secret agency doesn't show up to confiscate it. No one even notices. It was picked up and carried away just like that. No one imagined what it could be. There's no system that sets off an alarm when something falls from the sky. The truth is, some people just lack common sense. They can't imagine that an object like this could be transported through a city without anyone realizing. When we got to the airport, we had all the necessary permits. We've got contacts in the military and the police. They asked if the object was dangerous, if it could explode, or if it could cause any harm to humanity. We explained that it had been in quarantine for 30 days, 10 of those with me, and another 20 in Germany's facilities, and that it posed no danger. It didn't interfere with the plane's electronics. It wasn't hazardous. So we drafted an official declaration. Mausan even published part of it, stating that the object doesn't pose any threat to humanity and can be transported safely by any means. With that documentation, we were given clearance to board it and take it to Mexico. If we'd had to ship it by sea, it would have taken 25 or 30 days to get this to Mexico. And people travel on planes just like they do on ships. It would have caused more issues, more complications, more people involved. And in the end, it might have just ended up stuck in Colombia. In Colombia, a lot of people tried to claim it as theirs. Many called, saying it belonged to them. A NGO, an organization in Bogota, even got lawyers involved to try and reclaim the sphere, saying it was theirs. They claimed they'd been working on reverse engineering the object since 2011, that they had figured out the levitation tech, and that it had gotten out of control, and that this device flew from Bogota and flown 350 kilometers to Buga. They said they recognized it on TV and we had to give it back. It was nuts. There are some crazy people out there and they were trying to claim the sphere. I asked them, how many pins does the chip have? What material is it made of? They weren't able to tell me. They couldn't answer. They just said it was classified info. In other words, they were trying to scam me. They wanted to steal the sphere. They wanted it to stay in Colombia, to reverse engineer it or sell it on the black market. And I'm telling you, this sphere has a massive value on the black market. Super wealthy people in Asia, Egypt, Jerusalem, the Arab world, they'd pay whatever it takes to keep this trophy at home. Just like they keep lions or tigers as pets. They want an extraterrestrial sphere to show off. That's the black market. If the sphere had ended up in the hands of the wrong people, it would have already been sold off illegally. In Colombia, I got offers for SUVs, cars. They offered me a car. Even people from Spain called me. Rojo knows this. They offered me money for the sphere. 3 Spanish organizations from Valencia, I won't name them, and they're legit investigators, real NGOs that study UFOs and unexplained phenomena. They offered money because they knew the video was legit, that this thing was real. They could tell it wasn't for publicity. From now on, there won't be any more media exposure of the company that makes metal detectors. The mistake was showing that logo during the tests, the scans. That was the biggest mistake. So now, my friends, we wait and see what happens. Like you, I also want to know the truth. There were moments when I asked myself, what if it's all fake? What if it's just some abandoned object that Jose found? But no, it flew. Some say the flying object was a different one, and the one that fell was another. No, it's the same object. When Jose picked it up, the engravings were upside down. Not everything falls perfectly straight. Even during the scan, the sphere was tilted. But you could still see it clearly. It was the same one. It's the same sphere that Jose found. At first, it weighed about 1.5 or 2 kilos. Then I did a live stream with Arturo from Mexico. We weighed the sphere on a certified scale, the kind used by the company. We won't say the name anymore, to weigh valuable materials or important things like precious metals. So, the scale has to be calibrated and the weight has to be accurate. It came in at 6 kilos. I was surprised. Then we noticed it was getting harder to lift. It seemed weird to me. Well, 3 days later, when Mohsen arrived, it weighed 9.9 kilos. And now it weighs 10.103 kilos. My friends, this is insane. Why is it getting heavier? Is the gravitational field disappearing? What's going on? I don't know. But the truth will come out, my friends. If all this turns out to be some publicity stunt by someone, let it come out now. And let us be. But so far, no one has stepped forward saying, "It's mine." No one has claimed it or said they placed it there for a reason. So the only rightful holders are Jaime Maussan and me, David Velez El Potro. And now let me tell you something. Some people have been digging into my private life. They went through my channel looking for things that had nothing to do with this and found videos of me singing. Yes, I'm also a singer. I've had this talent for a long time. I imitate Alejandro Fernandez. That's why they call me El Potro. My name's David Velez El Potro. El Potro is my nickname. I had to delete all the videos, all the music, because people started saying, "See? He just wanted publicity to drop a song, to go viral." No. This has nothing to do with my being a singer. Also, I work as an engineer for the Germany company, and someone said, "What kind of engineer is also a singer?" Well, yes, you can be both. I'm an engineer and a radiesthetist. I also do treasure hunting using psychic abilities and dowsing tools. But let's leave that aside because many people wouldn't understand it. Some would, but this isn't the time. Let's just talk about the artifact. It fell, it was picked up, it was handed over. I didn't ask for a cent. Now it's in Mexico. What more do you want, my friends? Who's made money off this? No one. The only one who's spent out of pocket is Maussan. Thanks to his shows and the new channel, things are going well for him. Some people are saying this whole story was made up to launch Maussan's new channel. That's not true. I'd never spoken to him in my life. I saw him once on TV and thought it was fascinating to see someone who's looking for the truth about UFOs. We all want to see spacecraft land on Earth. It scares us, but we want it. We want to witness it all. The end times, even if we're afraid. Mohsen has the courage to face all this. So why attack him like that? Why say it's just another scam? I don't get why they're saying, "Here's another hoax." If it were a hoax, I'd be the one to blame. I'm the one who handed the sphere to Mohsen. I'm the one who received it. But now they're not coming after me. They're attacking him. The engineer, the investigator, Mohsen, is already under attack. People are always looking for someone to go after. That's why, my friends, I say this. Don't believe what certain YouTubers or people making videos are saying. It's fake. It's already been debunked. Let them show their team and the equipment they're using. Mohsen said that if an investigator wants to spend $30,000 or $40,000 to prove it's fake, they are welcome to do so. Let them invest the money, bring their team, and analyze the sphere. They'll all come to the same conclusion. It's something unusual. So friends, if you don't have the means to investigate, don't talk. If you want to share your opinion from your living room, say, maybe it's a hoax, but don't go around saying it is a hoax for sure. Say, maybe it's real. Maybe it's an investigation that's going to go worldwide. Right now, it's the most important story in the world.
Tal vez esto sea real. Tal vez esto sea una investigación que le va a dar la vuelta al mundo.
When it comes to ufology, unexplained phenomena, and science fiction, it's the biggest thing out there. And that's why so many lies and contradictions are flying around people who just don't know what's really going on. Anyone who truly wants to know the truth, there are things I can't say here. But you can reach out to me. Message me on Facebook. My profile is David Velez El Potro. Message me also on Messenger. Let me know if you want an interview, a podcast, or just to hear the truth. I'll be happy to explain everything, expecting nothing in return. But don't go chasing after people who are lying or talking without knowing what they're talking about. Like that woman spreading disinformation. This woman is the greatest misinformer that can exist on earth, saying, "I own the bank Nubank," by David Velez.
And they were also saying that the guy who found the sphere had a metal detector.
Look, here's what I say. I'm sorry the guy who found it had a metal detector. I'm sorry that he used a metal detector and ended up giving the artifact to the Germany company. Yeah, it's a sin, I mean. He should have handed it to someone with no connection to these things to prove it was actually real. Think about it, friends. They're saying this whole thing is a publicity stunt to boost sales for Germany. But Germany company already sells to stores in Colombia, Mexico, Peru, Spain, and other countries by order. They can't even keep up with demand. So why would they need advertising? Thank you, my friends. A special shout out to everyone who's listening to this clarification. I'm not a social media guy, but I'll start showing up more to answer questions because I want people to get to the truth. If anyone wishes to know more, I'll be happy to explain everything at no cost. I'll share the truth and what's truly happening. And the moment it's proven to be a non-human sphere, you'll all agree with me. And if it turns out that it was built by the U.S. government, and it was here spying on people, well, we'll know that too. There are artifacts made with reverse engineering, and that's interesting. We don't have to assume it came from space or another planet. It could be terrestrial. The engravings aren't perfect. Fine. Other spheres have been found with similar deep engravings, whether in steel or whatever material. One was found during a funeral. This seemed strange to me, but I'm not showing it because I don't know if it's real. Just look at crop circles. They're not perfect. If you look closely, they have irregularities. The pyramid engravings are irregular, even though they were made thousands of years ago. And they were created with advanced technology. A lot of things are also carved, irregular. The Nazca lines in Peru? That monkey figure is crooked. The turtle looks weird. Why do such strange animals appear? Why don't they make a perfect animal? If aliens have such advanced technology, why didn't they draw perfect shapes? Why a lopsided monkey? One leg shorter than the other, a tail that's too long. I don't get it. So, before you judge the sphere, judge those ancient works in Peru. Then we can talk about a hand-engraved artifact made out of some ultra-hard material. This was hand-carved. This was hand-carved. We don't know yet if it was engraved with heat or got deformed by speed. We just don't know yet. Let's wait for the investigation to finish before jumping to conclusions. For now, we can only give opinions, not certainties. Thanks to everyone working through YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. I'm sorry if I offended anyone, but I know a lot of people are just doing this for views and sensationalism. Still, there are others who are calling for caution, saying, let's wait. We can't say for sure that it's fake, and we can't say for sure that it's real. Let's wait for the final answer, my friends. I'm David Velez El Potro. If anyone wants to know anything, find me on Facebook as David Velez El Potro, and I will attend you with great affection, and also on TikTok. I've uploaded a bunch of videos about the investigation, always as David Velez El Potro. Thank you so much. Warmest regards to you all. Until next time, if there'll be a next time. Thank you very much.
Hasta una próxima emisión si es que va a haber otra. Muchas gracias.